all right. We back, we back. What's up, folks, man? Let's get into this Stockton, California mass shooting and the idiots that are involved in this carnage, man. And hopefully, law enforcement finds every single person involved in this. Hopefully, there's no retarded prosecutor who loves giving plea deals to people who snitch that are as guilty as the people that they are looking to charge. That everyone is brought down for committing this wicked act, man. These fools who went in there with guns ablaze and knew there were children in this party that they show up to, that they, who knows who was the intended target, that they showing the hell probably ain't take the life of, probably didn't even hit. But I hear something about some rapper from out there. See that Filipino actor out there, rapper that's out there. If he was the intended target, who knows? Then it was a shooting, and that was just the day before this. That was, or was it the same day? There was a shooting in the mall out there in Stockton, and I don't know if that has something to do with this, man. But it just shows that, man, there's too many fools out here with guns that don't have a care in the world. They have this main character syndrome. Everything revolves around them. They can give a damn about anyone else that is around. And they don't think of consequences. That's the other thing. A lot of these dudes moving around here like little ass bitty boys and little bitty ass girls who don't think about consequences. And when they are caught, some of them when they face retaliations and they are hit and shot, wounded, maimed, and all this other crap, that they go out here with this retarded ass way of being. Okay, the shooting was in a mall in San Jose. Okay, so different city. Yeah, so that's different. And the JD says, Salute says, didn't hear about this mass shooting. Yeah, it was like 4 people killed, 11 wounded at a party filled with kids and adults. The people who lost their lives was, let me go on this thing. People lost their lives was like a 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 21-year-old. Very young people. And especially the minors that lost their lives. Everybody's young, even the 21-year-old. And that a fool will go in there and shoot up a party with 100 plus people in there. They saying the numbers of the people at this party were from 100 to 150. And so it's a sick-minded ass fool that'll roll up in there thinking he doing some gangster shit. That people really think this is gangster shit and saying this is gang related. Ain't nothing gangster about what none of these fools do. These fools get on these platforms. These platforms are at fault with this shit. These platforms no different than what the Source magazine became. They get on here. They let rival people come on to do interviews. They go in here and do hood vlogs and rival sets just to catch the little viral moment of being in this hood and a member in this gang says some foul shit about somebody on the other side in another gang, diss them, and right there that ignites some shit going on in that city with a bunch of brainless ass young folks who don't think, ain't been raised right, ain't been taught right. They're following the playbook of other degenerate ass people who don't think, don't act right, don't do nothing from the playbook of how gangsters supposed to behave and function. But these blogs are at fault for that shit. People allow it, because there's certain hoods that don't even allow that shit in their neighborhoods. You ain't about to come over here creating conflict, turmoil, and inciting shit between rival factions because somebody didn't open the door for you to come in here because they want to be put up. They want a little bit of hood fame. They want a little bit of internet fame, and they let these people in here. And certain people say disrespectful shit about dead people in another person's hood, and then bam, you have some war ignited between these two. And so, these fools, it's blood on the hands of whoever do these hood vlogs, these interviews. I'm pretty sure these idiots involved in this shit have done that shit. And it's had set off some things. And one thing with the pride of young folks, and especially when they're involved in gangs and about what they have to stand on. But for you to take your weak ass to a kid's party filled with family and friends and all that shit, Thanksgiving weekend, and open fire on people, how many ever suspects it was, if this is the doing of one person, they need to max your ass out. And for all your homies to watch you go through trial, and for them to railroad your fucking ass, and then for you to also watch as you go through trial about how alone you are going to be in that whole process of where everybody turns their back on your whole ass. And you think you doing something for your turf and your hood, making a name for yourself, and you're going to be sitting in the damn jail cell going through it. You're going to be sitting on that in that damn courtroom going through it as they paint you into one of the most despicable depiction a human can ever go through, but nobody ever taught your young ass that stupid shit. And nobody's going to prepare you for that. And they about to railroad whoever this fool is because they going to catch your whole ass. And then if they don't, people can't say, man, it's the law enforcement, turn their back because we minority group, all that stupid ass shit. No, you motherfuckers know who involved, don't speak up. But guess what? There's cameras everywhere. They're going to piece shit together. People have cameras set up on doors and everything. They're going to catch your dumb ass. And hopefully they max your whole ass out with a death penalty. This fool in here took somebody's young ass kid at a damn party. It's wild shit. But a lot of these kids are going overboard with this gang banging shit. And I'm pretty sure this dude in there was looking to celebrate. Man, I done caught 4 bodies. I done shot 12 people, because this is how the young fools talk who involved in that kind of world. I done caught all this. Yeah, man, yeah, pass the blunt. Oh, man, give me a sip, pass the liquor, and all this other whole ass shit that motherfuckers have normalized in the cool shit. But when the police come kicking your shit in, holding everybody down by gunpoint, and now the judge sets your date and you going through that shit, trying to wear every little cheap suit you can find and hearing about the details of your crime and what you committed, and the people they're going to have sitting in that box that are listening to this shit as they wait for a closing argument for these people to go in the room and find your monkey ass guilty. And then the judge to make a decision, which is going to be a life decision, whether they sit your ass away for the rest of your life, because you definitely going to get that, or whether they sit you to execute your ass. And then now your gun-toting ass go to where no weapons like the one you use are allowed. You better hope you get a shank. You better hope your gang is strong enough, or whatever group you fall in is strong enough to protect your monkey ass, and that you don't lose your life in that shit. But you're going to find out, this fool about to find out a tough lesson about how people really ain't there for you, for these people who think they out there putting in work. And you putting in work for a bunch of people that really ain't down for you. Because they going to turn their backs on you. They ain't going to say nothing for your mama. A lot of you already come from poverty and shit. Your parents ain't going to be able to afford a lawyer for your stupid ass. Your rapper homie ain't going to be able to put the money up for you because the lifestyle he portrays in the visuals of the videos they put out playing like ballers and shit ain't got the money to fund your legal defense. And it's wasteful for, even if they did have it, to put up a legal defense for you, because you done crashed out for some shit that is unworthy of whatever cause you thought that shit was for. And they better not allow no snitching in this motherfucking case that a prosecutor gives a deal to a rat ass chump that's involved in that shit. That what is it? Stockton law enforcement. Hopefully he put together the motherfucking investigation. It's concrete. It's open and closed. They cross every T, dot every I on find the people who they pinpoint as being guilty in this shit, and they wipe the earth, the face of earth with these fools. They wipe these fools from the face of the earth. Get rid of them. Remove them from society. Like, that was some whole ass shit. You knew whoever you was that walked into this event and seen a bunch of fucking kids in there, and you gonna still go about pulling the trigger. You a heartless ass piece of shit. It ain't no defending that shit. I can't wait till this trial start. Because I love to see people like this get washed away. Like, people put a bad rap on what it is to be a gangster or be part of some gang shit. These motherfuckers is just ridiculous, man. What you even showing up to somebody's function like that for? Like, there should be certain shit that is just off, that is just out of bounds. It's just off limits. You don't cross them boundaries. And I'm pretty sure you walk in there seeing children and families engage in a joyous occasion that you go about doing that. Unless it's some retaliation from a motherfucker on this side doing some hoe ass shit sit outside the party and wait for these fools. That would have been the most gangster shit for this idiot involved in this shit to do. You show up to a party, you done know the damn motherfucker you after is at this function. You lie and wait. That's the gangster shit. You lie and wait for this motherfucker, whoever, if he had to have done something really effed up to you, you lie and wait for him to pull off from this shit where the children and women are separate from him, and you go about taking care of your damn dirt. It's simple as that. TB says the Filipino Crips them Filipino Crip wars in Stockton. Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't seen some of the videos like, man, the fools gang bang like a motherfucker. And then Dell says, I'm with you, broski. And then Jashawn says they ain't did no hood vlogs. Man, I seen an interview with this damn fool on some channel and shit I was watching yesterday. And then like I said, it ain't just hood vlogs. These fools go on platforms and do these interviews. And then they talk this and that and F these folks. JD says always the fools that never had a life says that be out here ending lives. Facts. Fools angry, ain't got shit to live for, mad at the world. They get involved in shit around other dysfunctional ass young folks, high, drunk, in there trying to appease one another, trying to, gain acceptance in the group. And then they go out here crashing out, losing their lives. Like, I think one of the channels that needs to really be highlighted more, especially amongst young people and even in households, is that behind the wall shit. Because a lot of parents don't realize how close their damn young kids, especially young boys, are so close to losing their freedom over committing some goddamn act, following behind people, especially single family homes, because these mothers believe in kids being out here, being able to engage freely unsupervised, all for the sake of friendships and being around other young people. And that's where young people go astray. And then JD says always the fools that never had a life says to be out here ending lives. Boxer Sparring says, Red says, was it Latinos, blacks, whites, Asians, or Arabs? I'm assuming it's that it's the Asian dudes, because the Asian rapper they said involved in that. Wasn't a MB Nell or some shit like that? And then Jashawn says kids shouldn't have been there. Says they had different sections at the party. It says the kids shouldn't have been there. No, the shooter shouldn't have been there. The shooter shouldn't have reacted on that shit. The shooter, like I stated, if the shooter is really a gangster, or this killer really a killer, you get the motherfucking intel that this motherfucker's at this party. This who you got it out for. You lie and wait. You identify, because these motherfuckers all know each other. You know what car this motherfucker in. You lie and wait in a good position of what way he got to get out of here. It's so, man, if you on some gangster ass shit and you a soldier, it's so easy to take care of that shit without adding collateral to this bullshit that you do. And a lot of these fools doing that shit for nothing. The deaths that you see involving street related shit, none of it makes any fucking sense. None of it makes any sense. It ain't to change anything. It ain't to put an end to anything. All it does is further the bullshit that takes place. And then now ultimately what happens is you put heat on everything. So regardless if these fools involved in drug dealing and shit, all that shit about to shut down, because Stockton, the city of Stockton, can't allow that type of shit to ride. They about to come heavy on these fucking gangs. They about to watch everything. Then you got this crazy motherfucker in the White House who at any moment when some shit pop in California, let's go send the federal authorities in this mug. And they ain't no tell, the FBI probably about to hunt this dummy down. And like I say, ain't none of his sorry ass homies about to be by his side. Ain't none of them about to show support for him. He about to ride this shit out alone. This about to be the loneliest walk of this dummy's fucking life. And then, because you didn't kill kids, man. You didn't kill kids. And then you probably got to deal with the retaliation from that shit. Because especially if this is some gang-related shit, I'm pretty sure the parents of these kids is probably on some same street-level shit, and they gonna want revenge. You burying a fucking child. Three families got to bury a child and then a young adult who is still a child to his parents. Man, this fool really wasn't thinking. He probably went out there hiding a motherfucker. He probably didn't hit some fentanyl. He didn't hit some meth. And it went out here on some crazy shit to just open fire into a crowd like that. And it's a lot of these weird ass young dudes doing that shit. And then Lindell says they be laying with they be laying with a gun. Says those are the worst ones. Yeah, these fools just, I don't know, something within the brain, man. The brain development of a lot of these dudes, man. And then the fact that you get these dudes who are left out here to be around people who don't provide no real guidance. They ain't no real big homies. Even the people that were considered big homies at the time period were still leading people astray. And then Roland Curtis says it's crazy. He says, I went to Stockton, California since back in 2017 to celebrate the birthday of the homie's son. He says, I remember buying his son a black man, says a black man superhero action figure, says, for the birthday present. Says we went to a Target out there. Says the kid's fathers worked for the FBI at the time. Says so they live in a nice neighborhood in Stockton. Says, and I couldn't tell that Stockton got down like that. I mean, sometimes you got to go into the poor areas of cities to really see what things are like, because it's always a haves and have-not situation across this dysfunctional ass country. And then Lindell says they be playing Fortnite, says thinking they can do it in real life. Man, that's a fact, man. And it's crazy. They don't put no blame on these games, but they'll show in the hell point towards rap music. They'll point towards rap music. These current age of rappers are the products of Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and Fortnite. That's what these kids are the products of. But they'll quickly point that short shit towards rap music. But they'll never blame that shit. They'll never blame it on the violence in Hollywood movies, but they'll blame it on anything that's predominantly black that's successful as far as music, and act like all rap music is about these people shooting guns and all that shit. That level of violence comes from these kids who comes from the violent era of video games. And then the only time they attempted to blame video games because they want to blame white parents when the Columbine kids start doing that shit. They start blaming violence in video games like Mortal Kombat and all that shit, or games showing blood and shit. And then Roland Curtis says the area of Stockton that the homie lived in was very nice. Says he lived in an upscale neighborhood, so I couldn't tell that Stockton was wilding out like that. And then Mark Summers says a lot of times as young teens, he met that do the most reckless things. Yeah, teens are violence, man. That's what we were talking about today, man. It's crazy when you think about how violent teens are. Even friends I grew up, man, where you start seeing that violence, but it comes from out of shit in the household. Like a lot of households turns a lot of these kids like that shit. When the households break up, you dealing with certain shit can't be provided to you. Kids become angry. Your kids don't smile as much as they used to. They're in emotional states all the time. Bitch ass parents who ignore that shit. And then these kids want to externalize the shit that they have harboring that is pent up within them. Because they don't want to react inside the home. They still worry about mother or dad whooping their ass. But they fucking bottle this shit up. And then they want to release it. And then they go out here. Like a lot of parents is bitch made. That's why I be having my short temper with motherfuckers. It's enough for me to trip on punk ass people. That's why I don't keep too many people surrounded from me. Especially a lot of these bitches. Don't keep them surrounded by me at all. And it'd be a lot of what we see that play out in these streets is the fault of a lot of these bitches. Even me growing up in times where a lot of fathers ain't around. And you see the way in which communities turn out. Ain't no fathers around. They left with little bitter ass bitches. And then these mothers ignoring shit. And then these kids don't want to be around with shit. They hurt, but they love their mother and shit. And then you see them acting out. Like I said, I used to have some violent ass homies, especially the homie from 9-0. I always remember before he get killed. He was, as a young kid, you seeing that shit. But he come from where mother having all these kids, they granny raising them and shit. They seeing their mother when she come around, she strung out and shit. That ain't gonna make no kid feel happy. The community fucked up. You being threatened by other people walking up on you from these same fucked up, broken down households who now, act out with what's been pent up in them. Threatening people, chasing people, jumping on people. Man, it's gonna be so much a kid gonna take. Kids become extremely violent at a young age. And so many kids ain't gonna allow you to keep punching on them or chasing them. And then therefore they get hands on guns and shit. Like a lot of people don't think of that shit. You get adults who ignore that shit, don't pay attention. and thinking all young kids is just young and sweet. Like, fuck no, man. These motherfuckers are terror. And it says, because even the young homie I was talking about, he even done shit to where he tried to do it on some playful shit, but we used to try to do shit where he'll either try to have a motherfucker hurt bad or kill him, and then make it appear as if it would have been an accident. I sit back and look at this nigga like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then when he became a young teen and shit, man, who he became in the streets was well noted. You heard about him. But like I said, I seen it as a young kid, and a lot of these young dudes. And he says, and the Jashawn says, nah, says they a product of Chicago drill rap. Says that's who EBK influenced by. Oh, that shit, but shit, the kids still influenced by these violent ass video games too. And then, cause shit, drill rap didn't exist at one point, but guess what? The video kids did. They are the age of Call of Duty, all this violence and games, guns and shit. They want switches. They want everything they see in the video game, shooting up shit. And then Mark Summers says you can't blame video games and movies. Says you blame their parents. Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you, Mark Summers. Now I'm not just putting everything solely on video games, because there's a lot of things that goes into what creates this. Because a young mind is a motherfucker. People overlook the fact of the development of young minds, but people don't come up into that shit till they see a kid sitting on the stands, and then now they want to go into his psychology and shit. And then Lindell says, yeah, they strategically promote violence and says all for the population control. So remember the blood code on Mortal Kombat? Yeah, because you had the mothers against violence and all that shit that was against that. But the kids like, hell no, bring on the blood. Bring on the blood. Because I remember that shit in the arcade days. And you'd be like, and you're a young kid, you always thought it was cool. You always thought it was cool. Because even in old movies, I used to hate watching movies. Old movies used to suck to me because you'll be seeing fight scenes, no blood. Old gangster movies, shooting, no blood. And then Mark Summers says, so they blame Marilyn Manson for Columbine. But you say they only do that. You only do that with rap. No, the white parents did that shit because they want to point towards the failures inside of white households. So they blame Marilyn Manson and shit. White households are really fucked up. They sit there, these kids can plot and all this other shit, stockpile guns and shit, running to schools, do all that. And them parents be sitting there knowing that shit, not seeing the weird ass changes that kids going through. You even look in the White House, it's all these emo ass elementary kids. You ain't paying attention to something going on. You probably was an emo kid, Mark Summers. You probably was on that weird shit, and your parents ignore it. You're just a little boy. Little Timmy's just sad. And then he'll get over it. Oh, this is just Timmy. We all go through it. And then this little Marky. And then Jashawn says they politics mix. Says it was black Mexicans and Asians at the party. Yeah, I see they real intermix up there, which I like that shit. I like the fact that these people, I don't think race plays a part. Race ain't really a big thing in a lot of places where you see really us, unless you get some interfering ass bullshit into this shit. And even a racial divide, even with LA, is starting to break down. I see the kids out there congregating amongst each other in these groups, especially people realizing how vital black folks are for them and their plight in America. And then Mark Summers says, us is classic Cali nonsense at Deshaun. It ain't just California, Mark Summers. You just explain your ignorance, man, as a little sheltered, little new arrival into this country. It ain't just a California thing. It's an American thing. America is violence. That's like I was watching the thing with this scumbag, Timothy McVeigh. And Timothy McVeigh has some great ass points in that 60-minute interview. And because the interviewer asked him, said, is violence always the right response? And he said, well, you need to ask the fucking government that shit. Because when you look at it, the only response we ever learned, we are to learn from our government, is to react with violence. I mean, goddamn, shit, motherfucker ain't too wrong on that shit. His actions are wrong as fuck. Jashawn says ain't no role models. Says leaders. Says the older motherfuckers leave. Says and don't care about the mess they created, and that's a fact, man. And you start seeing the change in some of the old cats. Because I remember that's the other thing, man. That's why I be like looking back on my childhood in LA, because it was a time period, even the older cats, before that crack shit start really coming through the community. Because even cats, I even watched when some cats start turning into crackheads too. But before, they didn't allow us to see shit. That's why I got the story when the homie uncle slammed me on my head for being around them, whatever they talking about, because they on some gangster shit. I'm a young kid, things cool, trying to go over there. He kept telling me, hey, go over there and go play. Man, shut up, fool. No, I was thinking everything a game. Shut up, fool. I ain't going nowhere, because you want the older cats to chase you so you can run and shit. And then so it wasn't that type of time. Fool, I said that shit. Shut up, fool. Fool, chase me, caught me, body slammed me on the concrete, on the driveway. And I got the message, oh, let me get the fuck away. But even to be then, they wouldn't let you be around. What y'all want from the truck? Get you some ice and truck. All right, y'all go down, y'all go in somebody's backyard, go play. Uh uh Here, I'm gonna take y'all to the store, get y'all some candy, woo woo, and y'all go somewhere. Like when it was unsafe and shit. Then when some of these fools turned to start using drugs or became alcoholics, OG ass fools get burnt out. They no longer caring like that. They ain't the same people. Then it's a breakdown in the community. Then these fools start going off to prison. And then the people who come behind them was fucked up. They use young folks. They don't care about you. Young folks trying to make a name for themselves, doing wicked shit. Because even our neighborhood, I remember they used to have young kids walk through. It used to be young kids that walk through the neighborhoods at one time. They'll walk over there. Young ass dudes, like elementary kids, will pop at your ass. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And then Ron Curtis says it's funny. He says this generation is the Call of Duty generation, GTA, Fortnite generation. My generation was a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter era. Yeah, they was on that Mortal Kombat shit. Remember, Mortal Kombat was taking a lot of flack. That's why somebody brought up that code shit. You had to pull up the code. Yeah, I'm from LA. And then Roland Curtis says, so we were trying to fight in the streets. Says these kids blast first. Says ask questions last. Says this is how these so-called gangsters pass. Says at last. R.I.P. to Biggie. They was shooting even with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat era was extremely violent because we was coming out of them presenting these guns all through it. We also a country full of fucking people returning from war who have this violence within them. The fact that we're having to fight against one another and shit, protect ourselves. Everybody in America on edge, and then now guns in this motherfucker. Man, they were killing like a motherfucker in the early 90s. Like even more than what they have. I don't think death tolls in cities even rival to what you were seeing in from like 88 all the way through like 90, 94 maybe. Like high ass murder rates. And then TB says they talking about the mass shooting, says they talking about they talking about the mass shooting last night on ABC World News. Says they for sure going down now. Yeah, oh yeah. The FBI about to be all over whoever did this shit. That fool don't realize how much he fucked up. CNN got that shit. The World News, you saying? There's probably other news. Man, they ain't about to allow this shit to pop up. That shit is bigger news than that dude smoking that National Guard chick. They about to get on this dumbass fool's ass, and he gonna realize how phony these motherfuckers he was trying to prove a point for are. They are not gonna be at court. They ain't gonna put no money on his books. He gonna dwindle away in prison. Nobody's gonna call him. Nobody's gonna write him, and he gonna realize for nothing is what he's done. He should have been listening to his parents, to telling him to go get a job, to go off to school, to do whatever it was. They tried to encourage his fool to do something, but he rejected everything that made sense. Because maybe he was hurt or he felt this way. He felt he should have been a rich kid. He gonna make it in the streets. All this other shit these fools trick themselves with. Jashawn says I'm talking the newer generation. Says switches became popular because of Chicago, and then he says GTA says and Call of Duty didn't exist in the 70s and 80s. Says when the crime was at an all time high. Now crime was peaking in the 70s. It's just America's always been violent, man. That's the one thing when you let these little clowns in media try to run a narrative or try to control the narrative on what America is, and then you get some of them one act clueless as to why they see the violence. This is what America is. So what America is. You deal with domestic terrorism. It'd be crazy, like Even when they try to, I was looking at the thing, they was talking about the first time domestic terrorism took place in America with the Tim McVeigh shit, but they ignored the shit when the white boy blew the damn plane up with his mama on board in like the 1950s or some shit. They ignored that shit. The first act of terrorism in America was done by a white kid like Mark Sumner's, who was mad with his mama, put a bomb in her bag, and blew the fucking plane out the sky. And so they love to change this shit. That's why it's important to pay attention to historic events and history and shit. Mark Summers says, yeah, that happens in some homes. Says not common at all. And then Lindell says, what's crazy? Says what's crazy is I still remember that blood code. Says and I'm 45. Says now just think about what's going on in these young kids' minds. Says that are undeveloped, and that's the why. When even if parents are allowed their kids to play these games, you still got to have talks with them. And that be the thing. Some parents just present a kid with shit, or even the dumbass parents who want to shelter a kid from everything. All you do is explain this shit to a kid. You have conversation. The problem with a lot of adults is a lot of adults create a gap between themselves as adults and little kids. That's why it should be like the most fucked up shit to hear adults say back in the day is ain't no kids around here. And then now for the kids got to go off in some old corner with a kid and missed out on what adults can be teaching them. But then adults want to go off and talk a lot of explicit ass shit, ignorant, drunken ass shit. Kids have a party. The party turns into some adult congregation, a bunch of drunks and shit. And then therefore, anytime the kids in the fucking company of adults, they still don't get to learn shit from them. And I think it's fucked up that people don't bridge that gap or have conversation. I listen to rap music with my kids, and I'll break down shit in the rap music. Even if, and I don't like listening to the rap music that says like explicit sexual shit because I got a daughter. I don't like hearing that shit. But if it's rapping about other kind of lyrical we break that shit down. You ain't about to watch shit and just think it's that. Even if you watch a movie with violence, break the shit down. If the movie has a good writing to it and the messaging and shit, you got to break that shit down. Some people just put a kid in front of a TV or a device and then they just let them go away. Don't teach them shit. You get these old goody two shoe ass parents who want to shelter kids from everything and don't want to break down shit. Because some of these parents are lame. The goody two shoe motherfuckers is lame as fuck, and they don't know what the fuck's going on in the world. And those are the ones who really lose their kids. Those kids end up turning into other shit. They don't stick with the. I ain't gonna say all of them because they end up kind of with greater chances of becoming some, but some of them end up losing them. Mark Summers says, how many black teens bring guns in their parents' house? A lot, but they ain't gonna. The probability of them using them guns on their parents is extremely low. But kids like you is extremely high of you using that weapon on your damn parents. So I mean, yeah, black kids had them guns. But we don't function the same. Mark Summers. And then Axis says no excuse says no excuse to do he meant drive-bys, says it ain't the 80s and 90s, says with dope moving like a motherfucker, says y'all ain't fighting for anything other than corny shit. Yeah, that's all that gang shit these kids on, this corny shit. One to shoot up everything, one to have guns that have long clips, they can fire off a bunch of rounds in a short amount of time thinking they super gangster. I laid everybody down. Everybody was running and this and that shit. Mark Summers says no things pop off over Mexican, black, and Asians and Asian and Cali. Says not like that everywhere else. And the Velocity Cut says always been going down in Stockton. Says shithole city, cuz. He says remember that black serial killer Wesley Brown Lee, says out in Stockton. Says how come you ain't speak on that? Hold on, let me see who that is. Shit, because a lot of these motherfuckers, I was watching a damn serial killing fool earlier today. Let me see, what's this fool name? Wesley Brown Lee. Let me see who he is. Oh no, I ain't never seen this fool. Says 6 counts of murder, 1 attempted murder. So when was his cases? Recently? Oh, he a recent dude. He's some recent ass fool. But I did the one in LA. I did the one the what they call that fool, the what was the LA serial killer? That fool was called the Grim Sleeper. Yeah, I did that one. That one was crazy. And fool had all these bodies all over the place. But that's a failure with law enforcement. These officers ain't shit. These officers sorry. These prosecutors are sorry as shit. Even when you look at the story with serial killers and how they can have where tips are given to them to law enforcement have encounters with these fools, and they slip right on through because they realize most of these cops is dumb. Because most people in this country is stupid as fuck. Lindell says, "You from Cali?" Yeah, yeah, I'm from LA. And then Axis says only LA County says do Hispanic and blacks beef low key. Says Hispanics were never in the were never in the wrong in the 80s. No, I ain't gonna put nothing. Yeah, blacks were treating Mexicans fucked up in the 80s. I'm not gonna lie about that shit. Even in the early 90s. TV says my people brought me GTA. Says when I was still in preschool. God damn. Yeah, your people from O Block and shit. Yeah, you definitely raised by some old O Block ass people. It says my people brought me GTA since when I was still in preschool. It says I never had no nightmares since I tried to do anything violent. It says I knew the difference between video games and real life. Yeah, but some people come from them like violent ass like in certain violent environments where if you chased by motherfuckers, jumped on by people, banged on by people. Like I remember seeing in one of these like gang documentaries where a dude was like when he started banging, he was like, "Damn if I do, damn if I don't." And then he says, "I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't." And Axis says, and like me, I ain't never banged no gang in not no gang. I ain't never banged a gang in my neighborhood or even moved like that. But I got stories of being shot at, then they're being killed, witnessing motherfuckers get killed at a young ass age. So it's like almost a thing like, damn if I do, damn if I don't. Axis says, do a 1992 LA riot soon. I did one of those. Oh, that's the thing when people come. I've been had about this is my sixth channel. So I got those videos of doing live streams on the riots, Latasha Harlan's, who I always like to highlight Latasha Harlan's story because I think it's one of the breaking points leading to that LA riot shit. Like her stories, they probably need to do a movie on her and about how fucked up that situation was when you're dealing with the bitch ass judges within this judicial system and shit who allow that woman. That's what created a greater rift between blacks and Asians in Los Angeles in South Central. Not no South LA, South fucking Central. And the boxer sparring says, I remember when that thug from Stockton, California, Nate Diaz says, put the beats by Dre, says on that Irish man, Conor McGregor. Yeah, I enjoy him choking Conor McGregor, sorry ass out. Ron Curtis in the rolling. Mark Summers says America is violent, says, but not as violent as Muslim. Man, Mark Summers, you know, already prove this shit to your retarded ass. The African countries ain't that violent. The Middle East, violence is a European thing, bro. And the violence that America sees comes from Europeans. Like, yeah, people are gonna be feudal, tribal, and all that shit. But the level of widespread violence is European things. Didn't no Africans or no Muslims think of using motherfucking you motherfuckers done went so far to look up shit that you can't even see and to find out they gotta be some shit because we can't kick nobody ass physically, man to man. So let's use some microscopic shit. Let's develop a microscope. And under my microscope, I'ma see that there's some shit called an atom. And I'm gonna use this atom to create the greatest bomb human history has ever saw. That's the kind of shit come from Europe. Yeah, I'm gonna use this shit. I'm gonna use a bomb. Let alone the gun wasn't good enough for these motherfuckers. Yeah, these motherfuckers. We went to Africa, starting this shit, talking this Budweiser tough talk shit, and them motherfucking Africans beat the fuck out of us, kicked our motherfucking ass. But we need to enslave them because we can't work. We need these niggas to do the work so we can achieve some shit. And then somebody went to China, seen the Chinese making rockets, and y'all thought, let's use that powder and make a gun. So the gun wasn't good enough for you, Mark Summers motherfuckers, that you decide to look under the microscope for an atom. These motherfuckers is crazy. And they got the nerves to blame other people for violence. Now, I ain't never seen the Africans invade. Now, Muslims be violent from back in their old history, but who wasn't? But the motherfuckers ain't in there bombing motherfuckers. Like, get the fuck out of here. We don't listen to your narratives, motherfucker. You sound retarded and ignorant as fuck. Because you know it's wrong. That's what makes you extremely ignorant. Because you know everything you write is wrong as fuck. But you want to settle on believing that shit. To shift what violence is, and that's a European thing. Natives ain't never seen no violence till you motherfuckers came over here. Hell, the animals ain't never seen that shit. Shit, the moon went dead when you motherfuckers start building rockets to go to that motherfucker. It's people on the moon. Them niggas know to play dead when you motherfuckers come up there. And then WMS says remember how hard the politicians went after Ice-T. Says when body count drops, says cop killers, says always trying to point fingers. Yeah, they'll point on anything black. They love to point violence towards black folks. The drug thing was a black thing. Point out the black drug dealer. Let's the media show the black drug dealer and his chain and his fresh new kicks and his expensive G's. He lives in an area of poverty. We ensure he didn't have no jobs, but how is he rolling in this very new expensive vehicle? And he's clocking all these dollars, and his women are with new hair and all that because of the bullshit y'all done brought over here called drugs. And then playing this game like these are the people destroying this community. Like, get the fuck out of here. All this race rioting drove white people out of these communities, which is white flight. And then as punishment, let's poison these people for running the whites out of here with drugs. Let a few of them make money. We'll watch the ones making money. And guess what? We're going to go in there and arrest them on this war on drugs. That's why Ronald Reagan's daughter became a crackhead. Why he bringing that shit over here. And then Boxer Sparring says, LWC says, keep playing with Fanon, says, in Southpaw TV. Says they might pull up on them, says, like this at their next meet and greet. And then Mark Summers says, yeah, those lyrics were absurd. Like he talking about Ice-T lyrics, this motherfucker. And then Roll Curtis says, I think that the Mortal Kombat Blood Code says on Sega Genesis was ABABCABB, says or something like that. And then Mark Summers says, not talking about using on their parents, says, but no, it is not extremely high. Laugh out loud. Yeah, no, it ain't extremely high for blacks, but for whites, yeah, it's very high for y'all to use that in your households on family members. And the WMS 702 says the Mark Summers says an important time in music and censorship, says testing the boundaries of freedom of speech. And then Mark Summers says stupid ass. And then Mark Spartan says Richard Ramirez says the Night Stalker. Yeah, that one was crazy too with him. That was crazy when they caught him. They beat that motherfucker up. But then he went on one of these weak ass American trials and became a star. Motherfucker had hoes, these weird ass bras, be riding these serial killers, want to be that girl, boy. Some bitches ain't shit. Box Spartan says the YouTube boxing code says stay banging their sets is all over the net. Says they got lieutenants and generals. And then Mark Summers says Muslims were the biggest slave traders. Yeah, but whites were the biggest owners and biggest torturers of slaves. So you can blame everything on Arabs and all that other shit. But even post-slavery, you motherfuckers still went on to go looking under microscopes for the atom and turning the atom into a fucking bomb. You fucking wicked motherfuckers. I mean, damn, Mark Summers, shut the fuck up when you don't know what you're talking about. And then Lindell says, LA crazy. Says I hopped I guess it's off. Says I hopped off the plane years ago. Says to see my cousin in LA. Says I had some white Air Force Ones. Says with red shoestring. Oh yeah, that's no good. Red shoelaces. Says all right. He says with red strings in them. Says and he took them out. Says ASAP. Says because of the gang. Says I was like, damn, yeah, that man. You definitely look for trouble as a young dude. I think even as an old cat, man, they'll trip on an old ass motherfucker because a lot of old cats who is now, these are the ones who was doing all the killings back in the height of murders in LA. Yeah, that, man, hell no. That shit crazy how color gets you killed. Boy, man, motherfuckers set they sight on whatever they program into the mind. It goes into crazy how the mind can be programmed and how hate can be programmed into the mind and what is faux and what is not. Man, that shit is crazy. That a color would set motherfuckers off. I was looking at some cars the other day. This is how crazy shit is with LA. I was looking at some cars, and then they have like the interior can be red. And then the thing be like, damn, will people think this way if I had this car out there in LA? Our car with all orange interior. Would people think this shit in LA and assume you from this? they'll shoot the car up thinking you. I'm like, damn, man, that is a wicked ass mindset. And then Boxer Sparring says they got big beef, says with the Mauricio Suleimans of the world, says Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, Daniel Kinahan, and Tyson Fury. Man, I hear they beefing with Sean Porter now. I was like, I seen a title on Drew Titan video said now Sean Porter a coon. I said, man, these fools don't ever stop. And all they list of people they bring down be black and shit. Like, y'all fools delusional, man. Picasso in the building saying, yo, salute, salute. But folks, that's all I got on this one, man. I want to talk this one about this wicked ass chump out there in Stockton who's probably on the run, ain't gonna get far. They gonna catch your dumb ass. And I hope the trial is televised so I can see them read off the guilty verdict and watch the person involved in this situation break down and cry, so it can be a lesson to everyone else that is out there that commits senseless ass crimes with the thought of thinking they on some gangster shit. I'm a super gangster, super thug. Yeah, I'm really nigga out here. Man, look, I told you the Raiders are gonna lose. Who I telling that to? Boxer Sparring? Look, Raiders getting their ass whooped now. Let me see. Who else? Look, damn, the Vikings got their ass cleaned out. 26-0 skunk. Let me see. Who else out here? Let me see. That's the other punk. I don't like that fool, Aaron Rodgers, so I'm glad he getting his ass whooped. Let's see how many interceptions he threw. I see they put somebody else. So I see they pulled Aaron Rodgers, brought in the Madison Murphy. This motherfucker that threw an interception. Aaron Rodgers, garbage, homie. Aaron Rodgers, garbage. Let me pull up these stats on Aaron Rodgers' sorry ass. Like I say, these fools whack. Bringing these old ass dudes up here. Bringing these old ass dudes out here, giving them all these opportunities. Look at Aaron Rodgers' number, 10 for 21. What are they gonna blame? The wind? Was the wind blowing fast in Pittsburgh? But and like I say, these quarterbacks don't be producing a lot of nothing. This thing got 92 fucking yards. Is it windy or some shit? This motherfucker got 92 fucking yards. And y'all be sitting there praising these goddamn quarterbacks. Let's see. This running back doing this thing. Through 27 carries. 226 on the ground. Damn. Pittsburgh ain't do shit on the ground because they got this old raggedy motherfucker. They should have left Justin Fields there. Yeah, James Cook came to play today. He led the receivers and receptions. This fool got 9. Now he barely got his 100 yards passing in the fourth damn quarter. Man, get the fuck out of here with these fools. Aaron Rodgers, garbage. Let me go to this Raiders one. Geno Smith, doo-doo. And I hate to talk shit about Geno, but you doo-doo. Playing like doo-doo. And let me see. Geno with 1 INT. Got a touchdown there, but that's about all you're going to get. This fool got 2 here. What they doing running? 173. Damn, Raiders would not. Raiders need to give Genty the goddamn ball. The hell is wrong with goddamn Pete Carroll's stupid ass? Geno done been sacked 4 goddamn times. I mean, this shit is ridiculous, man. Oh, let me see. This is my relative. Let me get ready to end this one. Let me call her back. Let me get ready to end this one. Let me see. That shit ridiculous, man. Yeah, go ahead and clear the whole Raiders establishment out the damn league. Let me finish these last comments and then I'm gonna get up off of here. And Picasso in the building, salute. He says colorism in California is suicidal. Yeah, that the gang color shit is ridiculous. Hey, let me call her back. Axel says LDBC says still a thing. Says still a thing. Says that Haney must have revived him. Yeah, they talking. It ain't revived them. They still unimportant. And then Picasso in there says self-destruction. Mark Summers says you be saying that. So you be saying that's a solid day. Says if Shador put up those. No, I wouldn't. Shador did put up those numbers today. You didn't hear me say no solid numbers. People always got something to say when I say something about a quarterback that looked like his fucking family and shit. And then Dell says old ass Aaron Rodgers laugh out loud. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers garbage, homie. Picasso says it's a cult. Says a cult because you're not free to travel on your own. Yeah, you gotta be showing up. Why you ain't at the hood meeting? You ain't at the meeting. You ain't at the park. What you doing? Why you ain't over here? Why you go over there? Why you talking to her? And then 702 says Vikings started in undrafted. Says Vikings started an undrafted quarterback today. And then Mark Summers says not far off, says from a Shador game, laugh out loud. You trying to defend Aaron Rodgers whack ass. Says who your team? Oh, none of you heard me saying that in that earlier live. I don't like none of these goddamn teams. I would never like an NFL team ever in my fucking life. It'd be teams that I may show favor for. Some teams I'll be wanting to see them win, depending on who on the team. But me liking the team, fuck no. Especially not the NFL. It's too much of that Jim Crow ass bullshit going on. Same with the NBA. Same with college. I like certain players. Certain players I want to see win. And then Jashawn says, don't speak on my squad, bro. Said laugh out loud. Man, your squad is weak, man. Oh, so you're a Steeler fan. They weak. They done brought old ass Aaron Rodgers in there. And then Roland Curtis says, I have no stories of being shot at, says, but I have stories of the time that I was arrested and locked up in LA County Jail for a minute. Says there was no Blueface, no Whack 100, no Crip Max, and no Brick Baby. Man, I always hear people go to the county jail. Like, it be some of the most wild ass fools who like that shit. They adapting that shit. But other cats who I seen that went to that LA County, the LA County jail cleaned them up from whatever bullshit they got on. Because some people go through those little stints in their life where they on bad shit, not giving a fuck about anything. And them wild ass, delusional, lost ass young motherfuckers who just crazy in that LA County and that juvenile hall shit. That should make them realize, like, man, I come from a better family and I need to clean my shit up before I end up in this shit. And then Jashawn says, no, says, I ain't no Steelers fan. Oh, then what's your team? I was talking about 3 damn teams. And then Mark Summers says Rodgers was a great quarterback, says he just old now, says, and there's a big skill gap in the NFL. They need to let his sorry ass go. But once again, they get privileged to old ass white quarterbacks. He old as fuck. Oh, he said the Vikings. The Vikings pulled that shit with an old ass quarterback, bringing whack ass Brett Favre back. When the Vikings was right on the edge, like they missed their mark. The Vikings was right on the edge of being a Super Bowl team. It was like the Vikings like a Super Bowl team for like 2 to 3 years straight, and they kept going after that weak motherfucker Brett Favre. And that's where they fucked it. They even had the coach. Brett Favre left in that weak ass coach y'all had that year. Went to this nigga house to call this fool out of retirement. I said, man, I ain't never seen no bullshit like that in my life. And it was a black quarterback there. I think Teddy Bridgewater was the quarterback there. It was somebody black as a quarterback there. And that coach did how Shador coach doing him to this dude. I like, man, that's some hoe ass shit. Then Dale says, you bet on the games? Hell nah. No, I don't. My gambling is taking me a drive, so I can give me a drive in and buying a lottery ticket. And then Jashawn says we went to the NFC Championship game, bro. Laugh out loud. And he says, no, who was the quarterback then? Don't tell me that I'm wrong, but I know it was a black quarterback there. Who was that black quarterback? And he says Roger and Flacco says we're both Super Bowl winners. Says top quarterbacks in the league says at one time. Says you act like the league says it's all white guys at quarterback. He said no, it wasn't him. It wasn't Dante. No, not Dante Culpepper. That not them years. I'm talking about the years when Adrian Peterson was there. Tavares Jackson. That's who it was. Tavares Jackson. So Gino old too. He said not Culpepper. It was Tavares Jackson who they no, not Culpepper. The years I'm talking about where the Vikings was like right there to be in Super Bowl bound ass team was when Tavares was there. Shit, he talking about Tavares was guards. They never gave Tavares a goddamn chance. They went after wanting to quit the NFL as Brett Favre. Ron Curtis says definitely says I hated LA County Jail, says, and they've never seen me in that bitch again. Says I'm still heated, says that I was in there in the first place, man. Yeah, I ain't never been in that shit, my goddamn, because I always stay out trouble. The only time I've ever been in the cop car in LA in the neighborhood is out there in our neighborhood, and the police get called because it's like a bunch of they always be out there deep. And I always stop by because I never want to be around that shit. Because you don't know who driving around, you seen out there. Me, I move around all throughout LA. Ain't trying to be associated being as a gang cat. But it was at night. Man, the motherfuckers, police rolled out, pop up, and they throw like force in the back of the police car. I'm thinking like, I know damn well these bitches ain't about to take us to jail. But in the police car, I was like, man, these niggas trying to kill us in this bitch. He got the window up. It's three of us back there. The heat blasting. I'm in there feeling like I'm losing motherfucking oxygen. I'm like, man, this bitch in here trying to kill us, homie. And then he let us out. But the homies who kept going to jail, they thought the shit was a game. I said, man, you jail ass motherfucker. How the fuck y'all like going through this shit? Like, them niggas comfortable as fuck in this police car. Man, I'm in that bitch, can barely move. That they got that hard ass shit in the back of the seat. And then you can barely move. And this motherfucker got the heat on blast with the windows down there up, trying to suffocate us in this mud. And John says, you talking about 08, 09. Yeah, they was good. The Vikings was good back then. And then and he says Jackson Dart trash. And he says JJ McCarthy ass. Was that the coach for the Vikings? And he says Vikings went to the Super Bowl, says with white quarterback. And then when did a long time ago, right? And he says Jackson Dart trash. And he says Vikings went to the Super Bowl says because of Alan Page. Says laugh out loud. It says and the Purple People Eaters. Frank Frank Tarlinson says a legend though. So he was black then, is what you're saying, Jashawn. Not what Mark Summers put in there, Picasso and the Rolling. And then folks, let me get out of here. Let me call my sister and shit. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.